The Saturday Morning Scramble and your local Ingles Market.
It's the Saturday Morning Scramble on the Fan Upstate.
Week 2 of the Saturday Morning Scramble, but it is officially week 1 because week 0's in the books. Hope that maths out for you in your head on this Saturday morning. Take your shoes off if you have to over there, Alex Guest, as we are live this morning, rocking and rolling, talking a little high school football. We're live at 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. It's the Powdersville location. We're expecting Anthony Freight and a few players from Wren High School as they had a monstrous win last night. And we'll talk to them coming up around 9 o'clock. I want to hear from you, high school football fans, as well as I hear from you when I pick against your school. So I hope I hear from you again today, as obviously, believe it or not, we did get a few picks wrong last night, Alex. It does happen. Believe it or not. But welcome into the Saturday Morning Scramble. He's Alex Guest. I'm Cole Bryson, again live at 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont, the Powdersville location. Speaking of Wren, just a big week for Wren last night. Powdersville and Wren both right in this area, Alex. And Powdersville, not the best night last night against Seneca, but boy, what a win for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, big win for the Hurricanes last night, 42-0 over Palmetto. I mean, what a way to start your season! Just get a blanking of Palmetto, and just a great way for Anthony Freight and his Hurricanes to start and just have that momentum going into week 1 next week.
Big win, big win rather for Anthony Freight. And, it's weird about Powdersville. They had a tough test, Seneca, last night. We'll get into that one as well. Seneca's tough. I mean, they're always a good team. And, you and I both picked Powdersville last night. We'll get into how we did in our picks and scores from last night. But that Powdersville-Seneca game was one of the better ones of the night. But, man, just hat tip to David Crane. I mean, he brought back nearly 20 starters from a season ago, Alex. And Seneca was a little too much. I joked with you before we went on the air. It seems like sometimes we're having this conversation every year with Powdersville. They'll lose the first game or so, then go on a run and, not lose again until October. But big win for Seneca, not upsetting, but taking care of business against Powdersville last night.
Yeah, absolutely, Cole. And, you talk about it, Powdersville, most everybody has the same schedule that they had in 2024. Powdersville, they opened the season with Seneca, Abbeville, Wren. That's not 3 easy games to open the season with. They lost all 3 of those games last year. And so, hopefully for Powdersville's sake, they kind of turn some things around. But, you mentioned that loss last night to Seneca. It was 56-35 was the final on that one. Last year, that was just a 1-point game.
That's right.
So for that to be as large of a victory for Seneca,
kind of got out of hand late there. Powdersville's Woodruff did return a kickoff for a touchdown in the third quarter. Powdersville cut it to 42-28, but then Werner punched in for Seneca, kind of put the game away. And Sprout also had a late touchdown for Seneca. So it was a big night for them in this area, this neck of the woods where we are. Again, Wren on top, though. We'll talk to Anthony Freight and a few of his Wren Hurricanes coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. So good to be with you on this Saturday morning. If you were at a high school game last night, you want to talk about it, you can do so at 844-326-3663. The Hub City Spartanburgers text line is open. Phone line's also open. Again, that's 844-326-3663. A lot to get to last night, including who won, who lost, how Alex and I did on each pick we made. Yes, we made picks last night. We'll go over that. But first, let's get to the scores. The first week 0, is officially in the books. Alex, 20-some-odd games last night?
Yeah, I think it was 29, Cole.
29 games. A lot of games in the upstate. Some really good competition in opening week. Some happy fans this morning. Some not-so-happy fans as well. Alex Guest, and let's hear last night's scores, week 0 from around the area.
Let's hear them easily. Wow. Words are hard. English is difficult.
Early.
Sorry.
It's early.
I'm sorry, Cole.
You start that
sorry.
back over?
Yeah, let's start that back
let's try
over.
again.
Let's hear
Ready?
the scores, yeah.
Let's hear the scores from last night.
I'm sorry.
Alex,
Easily.
Take 2.
Easily 56-34 winners over Pickens last night. Dortmund blanks.
By the way, did we get that game right or wrong? Because I think I picked Pickens.
You got it wrong. I got it right. Yeah.
Big win for Easley.
Big win for.
Sam Houston, head coach over there, trying to build something, right?
Yeah.
That's a nice win. Nice win for Easley.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Dortmund blanks Greenville 34-0.
Big win.
Yep. Hillcrest, a 56-17 winner over Lawrence last night at Hillcrest. Midland Valley and J.O. Mann got rained out. They will play tonight at 5 p.m., and that game has changed locations. It was a J.O. Mann home game. It will now be at Midland Valley
I saw a
tonight.
picture of their field last
Yeah.
night, and it was underwater.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad.
Yeah. Well, you know, the Greenville area has gotten a lot of rain in the last week.
Yeah.
Riverside, 41-21 winners over Malden. Byrnes, a big 30-10 winner to open new Nixon Field over T.L.Hanna. Boiling Springs, a 23-18 winner over Greer. Boiling Springs led that game 23-0 at one point, and Greer came back, made it a game. Eastside, big 51-6 win over Southside. Independence out of Charlotte gets a 27-21 victory over Gaffney. Northwestern, a big 39-7 winner over Spartanburg to open the season. Travelers Rest and Wade Hampton go down to the wire, but TR gets a 13-10 win over Wade Hampton. Down to the wire.
That game, well, it's funny. The reason I'm laughing is that game, I mean, it took everything. That was a blocked field goal, I believe. Let me look in my notes here between Wade Hampton and Travelers Rest. By the way, Alex, that was TR's only win a season
Only
ago.
win last year, yeah.
And let me see here. Last night, here we go. Wade Hampton. So Wade Hampton led Travelers Rest 2-0. And then TR blocks a field goal. Jaden Coney takes it back after the block and scores on the same play. And Travelers Rest ends up beating Wade Hampton 13-10. It was wacky, but big win.
Football, man.
It is big win again.
Football's bouncing weird ways.
For over at Travelers Rest, Chris Goodman. Big win for those guys.
Yeah. Continuing on, Fountain Inn, a huge 48-14 win over Liberty last night. Wren, we mentioned, blanked Palmetto 42-0. Emerald, a 28-0 win over 96. Westside went to Alabama to take on Vestavia Hills, Alabama, a big power in the state of Alabama. 49-7, Vestavia Hills gets the win over Westside. Daniel puts a big 0 on the board for Chapman. 43-0, Daniel winners over Chapman.
Man.
Seneca 56-35 winners over Powdersville. Belton Honeypath 49-9 over Broome. Let's see, Saluda 28-6 winners over Crescent.
First win, by the way, for the new Saluda coach. Remember, Stuart Young left to go to Lexington.
Yep.
He was there for nine or so years, and that's a big win for those guys.
Yeah, huge win for Saluda to start the season over Crescent. Chesney 35-21 winners over Pendleton last night.
We'll get into that.
Landrum, a 20-13 win over Walhalla. West Oak defeated the Greenville Hurricanes, a homeschool association, 28-0. Hammond got a big win. Hammond out of Skeeza got a big win over Christchurch, 17-0. Abbeville, 42-0 over Southside Christian. A lot of zeros on the board last night. 41-29, St. Joe's, a win over Skeeza Cardinal Newman. Mountain View on Thursday night, a storm-shortened game. Is that right?
Third quarter was called,
34-0, Mountain View, a winner over Atlantic Collegiate. Newberry, 62-14 winners over Union County last night. Woodruff, 21-13 over Clinton. A huge game taking place at Woodruff.
Probably the best game of the night, maybe.
Yeah. And Ware Shoals, 44-6 winners over Blacksburg.
Ooh.
And those are your scores from last night.
44-6. Blacksburg won that game a year ago.
Yeah.
And Ware Shoals returned their quarterback. Blacksburg breaking in a new quarterback. That's I didn't expect. I picked Ware Shoals. I just didn't expect it to be that lopsided. So really interesting there. We'll get into the game that you were at, Alex, the game that I was at as well. Again, if you are listening this morning or watching the show, as you can do on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at the Fan Upstate, we'll get to the game that you were at. Want to hear from you on the stream. Heard from Joe, Tony already this morning as well. 844-326-3663. If you are listening to the show, we appreciate you, but also a reminder, if you are maybe a little late riser on this Saturday morning and have a smart TV, you can put us on your TV as well at the Fan Upstate on YouTube. Again, you can watch the show. 71 people watching right now, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, as you can do as well. All right, what did we do right? What did we get wrong last night, Alex Guest? As every single week, you and I make our weekly predictions, our weekly picks. I put my article up yesterday at thefanupstate.com, and not a bad night to start things off in week 0. Too many losses, though. I don't like losing 6 games. Alex Guest last night, you went 18-9. I went 21-6. Only a few games separating us there in week 0. But you go first. The games that you got wrong, I shared a couple of those with you as well. What games did you miss last night?
Yeah, games I got wrong, and I'm right there with you, Cole. I hate seeing all those losses that I picked wrong, but uh, I after what I saw last year, you and I had talked about it earlier in the week about T.L.Hanna and Byrnes, and I was just trying to find and granted, I know this year is not last year, especially for Byrnes, especially opening a new stadium,
Yeah.
and the hype that comes with that. But I picked T.L.Hanna. That offense is hard to stop.
It is.
That T.L.Hanna offense, and so I picked Hanna. So that was one loss for me. I picked Gaffney. They lost to Independence. Picked Wade Hampton. They lost to Travelers Rest. Another loss of mine, Powdersville.
Yeah.
Lost to Seneca. Crescent. They lost to Saluda. Pendleton, Walhalla, they lost to Chesney and Landrum, respectively. And then Clinton and Blacksburg were my last 2 losses.
I picked Clinton as well until yesterday at like lunchtime. I changed my pick. I said, I'm going to go Woodruff. I think for some reason Woodruff's going to win the game. And
well, why didn't you tell me?
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know if they were really going to win. I just kind of went off gut and got lucky, I guess, right? So Alex, 18-9 last night, 21-6. My 6 losses, Alex, I shared some of those with you. I did pick Pickens over Easley. Again, I got that one wrong. You did pick Easley in that one, though.
Sam Houston,
win.
man.
Yeah, there was a couple of good plays. Sam Houston's a good coach. Matthew Hillstock's a good player to watch over at Easley. That's a nice win for them. It really is to open up the season. I know that they still have a lot of football to play, but that's a big win for Sam Houston over at Easley, trying to build something there. Not far from where we are. Alex, I also got the Gaffney game wrong against Independence. We'll get into that. I got Wade Hampton wrong. Again, a wacky game. Special teams matters, right? And ask Wade Hampton after last night. That's kind of how they lost that game. A blocked field goal. Travelers Rest was able to run it back on the same play. And we mentioned that game. That's a big game for both of them because they need it. I mean, you look at last year. We just mentioned it. TR, that was their only win a season ago. So Jaden Coney takes it back after a blocked field goal, 13-10 win. I got that one wrong. I picked Pendleton over Chesney. And I'll tell you what, man, you talk about a big win. Brett Chappell and Chesney last night. What a huge win for Chesney. I thought that Brett Chappell did an outstanding job in his first season a year ago, Alex. But for them to come out in a game that wasn't close a season ago, Pendleton put it on them. And I think it was, 40-something, high 40s, low 20s, something like that, 20, 25-point, maybe 30-point ball game a season ago. For Chesney to come back a year later in 2025, second year under Brett Chappell, that's a big statement win. And I picked Pendleton there. I thought it would be close, and I thought Pendleton would still edge him out. But, man, Chesney last night, I think that's one of the more, statement wins from a program that's really trying to build something. You got to tip your hat to Brett Chappell last night.
Yeah, absolutely, Cole. And you've got 2 pundits. What do we know about high school football? But you got 2 pundits here that are picking Pendleton to win, and Chesney comes out there and just proves us absolutely wrong.
And you know what? Chesney, give them credit. They jumped out 13-0 last night from the very get-go. And when you jump out like that, they have a lot of good players. Lauder for the Chesney Eagles is a really good athlete, really good football player. I know Brett Chappell's talked a lot about him, and they've got a lot of potential over there. So that's a big win. Let's see what else I got wrong. Landrum, Walhalla.
Mm-hmm.
I picked Walhalla there, and boy, you got 2 programs last night, and Landrum and Walhalla both breaking in new head football coaches. And Landrum's Mike Reed gets the job done last night. Landrum, for the change in coaching over the past few years, last night, trying to build something that we talked about how big that win was for Chesney, but Landrum's going to have some tough games this year as well. I think that's a statement win for the Cardinals last night.
Yeah, absolutely. And last year Landrum losing that game 20-14, but
Sure.
a big turnaround, obviously, to come out and get a win over a tough Walhalla team. I mean, you talk about Walhalla; they went 6-6 last year, had a pretty good showing in the playoffs, and then ran into the buzzsaw that was Mountain View Prep last year and is Mountain View Prep, and but yeah, just big win for Landrum to get the season going in the right direction.
A couple of texts here on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. RJ says, how about those Dorman Cavaliers last night? Solid win to open 2025. Also, shout out to Chesney and Landrum on their wins last night. That comes in at 844-326-3663. Another text here from the 978. Hey, Cole, big shout out to Landrum Cardinals. Big win last night and Coach Reed's first career win. Absolutely. Shout them out, man. Big win for those guys over in Landrum. And again, like I said, both programs, first-year head coach, right? A lot of that last night, first-year head coach, and some more tonight. You talked about that J.O. Man Midland Valley game. Going to be a lot of fun to see that one tonight, how it plays out if Bryce Smiley can get his first win. But, yeah, absolutely, to the Texter's point, big win for the Landrum Cardinals and Chesney Eagles over in that neck of the woods. So a lot of games to get to from last night, a lot of conversation to be had. We're just kicking it off right here on the Fan Upstate. Steven on Facebook on the stream commented, which you can do as well at the Fan Upstate, Alex, and said Newberry looked good. They did look good. Union County had a couple of two scores last night, two-score game, or not a two-score game, but two scores for Union County, but just a lot more scores from Newberry.
62-14, yeah.
A big win for Newberry. Look, Union County, they have a tough schedule. I mean, you look at their schedule, man. You look and you try to find some wins there. Quinn and Isom, man, he's doing a good job over there. But, man, those Union County Yellow Jackets have their work cut out for them. That loss against Newberry, I think we all saw that coming. But non-region, after that, it doesn't get much easier, does it?
Not at all, Cole. Here's the rest of their non-region schedule. It's Fairfield Central out of Fairfield County. So not a lot of folks know about Fairfield Central in our neck of the woods, but they are a pretty good Midlands team.
No doubt.
Then you've got York, Blacksburg, Chester, Clinton.
Ooh.
Then you open your region with MVP, and then Broome, Chapman, Woodruff.
Ooh.
So
tough.
doesn't get any easier for Union County.
And that's the thing, man. Like with what they're working with, and the numbers they have, they're trying to get people back involved in that football program, get that thing kind of revamped. And you mentioned, I mean, maybe a Blacksburg game is huge for both teams, right? I mean, not only for Union County, but for also Josh Batchelor and Blacksburg. They both need that one.
Yeah, season ago, Blacksburg and Broome were the only wins on Union County's schedule. And you mentioned that Blacksburg game a season ago. Blacksburg only had 3 wins, and Ware Shoals was one of them. And now you lost to Ware Shoals last night. So what's that set Blacksburg up for?
No doubt. I'll tell you this. I also saw, we were talking about Malden. You mentioned that Malden Riverside score. I think you and I were talking a couple of days ago, maybe last week, about Malden, and the program they've had. It's been a tough road for those guys over at Malden. But even in the loss last night, I think Malden in Andre Cook starting to turn the corner a little bit. I know a lot of people look at that score and think, okay, Riverside won. Malden's the same old Malden, and Joe brought them up on the stream on Facebook. But Malden played them good last night, man. They jumped up 7-0. That game against Riverside. Then Keon Knowles for Riverside came back and tied it at 7. It was crazy. Alex Malden fumbled the next kickoff, and Zakari scored for Riverside. And then the very next kickoff, Tamari Shepard for Malden takes it to the house to tie the game. A lot of back and forth early.
Wow.
And I know Riverside won that one, but you look at that score and you hear about Malden and what they're building. It's tough over in Greenville County in terms of the lines and the kids, able to transfer and transfer into programs that are a little bit more top heavy per se. But I think Andre Cook's building something over there at Malden, but also shout out to Matthew Rochester and those guys at Riverside last night.
Yeah, I mean, look, you talk about a Malden football team that prior to last year, let's see, October 11th last year was their first win since August 26th of 2022.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
So
that's a tough, getting them out from the, I mean, pulling them out from where they were. I mean, that's tough. But I look, we've had Andre Cook on,
Yeah,
and I think he's going to do a good job.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Well, let's see. On the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, Keith and TR says, how about our Devil Dogs? Yeah, you're right, Keith. A big win, man. Keith, 2 years in a row now, Alex. Is that right, TR?
2 years in a row. TR opens a season with
man.
a win over Wade Hampton.
So that's big. Again, going back to what we was talking about with Union County. Travelers Rest, a tough schedule, right? You need everyone because Chris Goodman's talked about it. They didn't win anything else last year after that first win over Wade Hampton. Now you try to figure out, as a head coach with that program, you won that first one. How do you build upon it? How do you go from one win a season to go to 3 or 4 this year and trying to build, that Travelers Rest culture and program. Yeah. Michael Lancaster was there for a few years, obviously now back at Dorman. But, Alex, their schedule is not easy either.
No, not at all, Cole. You got the one win over Wade Hampton last year, 14-7 to open the season. So 13-10, a little bit closer this year, but still kind of around that same measuring stick, I'd say. And then after that for TR, you got Emerald, you've got Palmetto. And then you get kind of right into region play. Seneca, Greer, you go Pendleton out of region. Then you've got Daniel, Blue Ridge, Berea, and Pickens to end the season.
Sure.
So, I mean, we talk about the toughness of some of these regions, and that's one of those where you're really, I mean, you're going up against the big dogs like the Daniels and the Greers, and I mean, it's difficult to stay at that kind of caliber when you've got a second-year head coach who's trying to change the culture and bring back the prominence that is and was at one point TR Devil Dog football.
There was a big game, Hillcrest Lawrence last night, Clinton Woodruff. We've got to get into that. Also, what happened in Region 2 5A, Bowling Springs, Dorman, Spartanburg, Gaffney, Byrnes. We did mention Wade Hampton. We did mention Riverside. We'll get to that. A lot more to get to on the show. Want to hear from you as well. A lot of interaction already. Let's keep it going right here on the Fan Upstate.
Mike is hot in 3, 2.
This is the
Mike is
Fan
hot.
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Streaming everywhere on the Odyssey app.
We're continuing the high school football conversation right here on the Fan Upstate, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, 97.7 FM in Greenville, on the Odyssey app, the iHeart Media app as well. You can also tell your Alexa to play the Fan Upstate. You can watch the show, as 110 people are doing right now, on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you're still in the bed on this Saturday morning, throw us on your smart TV. You might want to, turn the radio back on when you see us on TV. We're waking up to Alex Guest has poured the coffee on him instead of drinking it this morning. He's trying to wake up. A couple hours of sleep last night. We're getting there, though, right? We're waking up.
People think that
You think people believe me? Think
they might. I mean, you
they're
hear it on the
Eagles
radio.
market.
It's got to be true, right?
Eagles pouring coffee on you, right? A lot of good games last night, man. Clinton Woodruff was one of the bigger games. Well, obviously, we'll get into what happened in Region 2 5A last night. A lot of big games there, Alex. But, man, you look at Clinton Woodruff. I went back and forth on this one. Clinton, again, state champions from a season ago. Woodruff now in, Brett Sloan's, second year? And all of a sudden, this Woodruff team, Alex, is starting to find their groove, starting to find their stride a little bit. And hat tip to both teams, because it was a close game last night. Ultimately, Woodruff just had a few more athletes, but when you're going against Clinton and the way they run the football, first of all, I think you have to give Woodruff's defense a lot of credit for being able to keep Clinton down and not allow that Clinton team to control possessions, and kind of control and dictate the flow of the game last night.
Yeah, you're right. It's Brett Sloan's third year.
Third year.
So, he's getting into a rhythm. He's his first year at Woodruff, they go 4-7, then they turn it around, go 9-2 last year, and then big win last night over defending state champion Clinton. So, no, absolutely, Cole. I mean, I think Brett Sloan's got it going for him at Woodruff. We knew going into that game that was going to be a big game, big marquee matchup. What a way to lift the lid off your season than a game like that against huge Clinton team, a big, powerful Clinton team that they are, and obviously defending state champions that they are.
That's
but
2 years in a row, right? 2 years in a row for Woodruff in that opener against Clinton, or do I have that wrong?
Yeah, you're right. They beat them 40-36 last year.
So 2 close games. I mean, both of those games have been really, really good games. Last night, Jalen Lyles of Woodruff, big touchdown. Woodruff goes up 21-6. Alex Zy Butler of Clinton scored to cut the lead. So at that point, you had a little bit closer of a contest on a 4th and long play. Woodruff's Connor Davis picked up 8 yards on a 4th and long for the first down and kind of iced that game. I tell you this, Woodruff has 5 new starters up front on the offensive line. And when you bring back 5, or when you go into a game rather with 5 starters up front that are new to this year's team, right? Some inexperience on the offensive line, and you're playing a state championship Clinton team from a season ago, that says something. And to your point, Brett Sloan, 4 wins in season 1, 9 wins last year. I mean, that's a big jump from year 1 to year 2. And look, they're in a tough region, and Mountain View Prep is going to be challenging, and there's some games out of conference, out of region that Woodruff will be tested in, Alex. But man, look at this Woodruff schedule. You look at this team, and you think, man, all the talent they have with Aiden Gibson and those guys, this team's got a chance to really have a big season in 2025.
Yeah, no doubt, Cole. I mean, you talked about that Mountain View Prep game last year, and upcoming this year in the region. For Woodruff, that was their only regular season loss last year. It was a 2-point loss to Mountain View Prep, 40-38. So Woodruff had a really good team last year. When you take a look at 30,000-foot view and say, wow, that's a pretty impressive team that they had. But they started the season last year with a couple of close wins, 40-36 over Clinton, like we mentioned, a 3-point win over Fountain Inn, and then just kind of rattled off the wins left and right until they hit Powdersville in the playoffs. And then that was a 7-point loss to Powdersville. But, no doubt you've got Fountain Inn next week. That's a home game for you. and then you've got Emerald, Woodmont, Chesney, Wren before you open the region with
Yeah.
Broome, MVP, Chapman
And
Union.
you mentioned Chesney. I think you're starting to look at
Yeah.
those two hires, specifically Chesney and Woodruff, and thinking, man, those
Yeah.
two programs got it right.
Absolutely.
With Brett Chappell now in his second season, and Brett Sloan in his third season,
Yeah.
the two Bretts,
The
man,
Bretts.
two good hires.
Battle of the Bretts.
Two really good hires. I mean, two big wins. I mean, those two. I mean, last night in the Upstate,
Yeah.
those two teams, man, had maybe the two biggest wins in the Upstate last night. So huge,
No doubt.
huge
Yeah.
wins for those two programs. Congratulations to those guys. What happened in Region 2 5A last night? We mentioned
Not
Wade Hampton
much.
and Riverside. Not much.
Yeah.
Not much. I know Gaffney lost, so you don't want to talk about it.
No.
but we gotta talk
I
about it.
just mean not much happened.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, there were like 5 games or something.
In Region 2 5A. Dorman gets a big win at Greenville. Alex, I picked Dorman. You did as well. I think
Yeah.
we both felt like that game could get out of hand last night. Dorman kind of had control of it from the very get-go. First-year head coach Scoot Watson trying to establish something over at Greenville. And Dorman, in the first year of Jason Farmer as offensive coordinator, and we've talked about them getting Michael Lancaster back. It's going to be interesting with this Dorman team because their non-region schedule sets up for them to have some big games, which I think is good. Get some confidence before region play, but it also, in a way, does make it challenging. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way toward Greenville, but it does make it challenging in a way where we really can't judge just how good some of these teams are. And again, no disrespect to Greenville. Scoot Watson's going to get that program turned around, but I do think it's going to take some time. But regardless, a very big win for Dorman last night.
Yeah, big win for Dorman last night. You mentioned the game last year where it was 42-35 was the final, 34-0 last night. But you mentioned Jason Farmer coming in as the offensive coordinator. I mean, get this, 208 yards on the ground for Dorman, 108 through the air. So, I mean, just an incredible offensive performance last night for Dorman. And kind of I looked at that score at one point. It was 11-0, and I'm like, that's a baseball score.
Yeah. Well, Jason Farmer said a couple of times to me during the offseason that, hey, look, we got a quarterback in from Asheville, but we want to run the football. And to your point with the stats there, they doubled the yardage on the ground, and they more yards to 200 on the ground, 100 and something.
200 on the air, 100 in the air. Yeah.
Yeah. So a big night for Dorman. Meek Slidell at quarterback, starting to kind of find his way in that Dorman offense. Edwards had a big interception as well for the Cavaliers. Just a dominant win, dominant performance.
You mentioned Slidell. I mean, 7 of 10, not a bad outing.
And you know what? I know people look at that and say, well, it didn't throw the ball a ton. I just think that might be. Like if you asked Jason Farmer and Michael Lancaster and Jake Morris, I think that might be what they want.
Yeah.
7 of 10 for how many?
108. Yeah.
108.
And then you got Nick Means in the backfield, 11 carries for 160 yards.
And I think that's going back to, again, what we said last week. Dorman wants to get back to running the football. They've got 2 really good running backs behind Nick Means with Isaac Tate. Is that right?
Yep, Isaac Tate.
So, I mean, he's capable of breaking some big ones as well. They've got 2 good backs. And look, region play obviously is going to present some challenges in different ways, and you're going to be tested in different ways throughout the course of the season. But I think Dorman, that last night is kind of, in my mind, I think what they want to do, right? Be a little more heavy on the ground, allow their defense to play with a lead, and not ask the quarterback to do a whole lot.
Yeah.
With Slidell, I mean, that's exactly what I think Jason Farmer and Michael Lancaster and those guys want. So a big win for Jake Morris and the Dorman Cavaliers last night. A game you were at, Alex, last night, Independence Gaffney. We knew this one was a big one coming in, with Independence always being a good team. We know them from their reputation up in the Charlotte area. Is that right? And, a little bit of interesting note about that game, right? You have the head coach over at Independence and Daryl McFadden, who, good coach, really good coach, was one of the 3 finalists for the Gaffney job. So he didn't get it, obviously. Donnie Littlejohn did. Daryl McFadden, first week of the season, week 0, brings his team down. And next week, they're going to get another finalist for the Indians, that they're playing in J.L. Mann. But a game that you were at, obviously you have the stats on it, but sometimes stats do paint the full picture. Sometimes they don't. Your thoughts on last night, what happened with the Gaffney Indians?
Yeah, I mean, Independence is just they are very athletic. They're very talented. They're a very talented team. You know, at one point in the game, well, early in the game, Independence's defense kind of looked like they were playing a little bit tight, you know, and then midway through the third quarter, unfortunately, Gaffney running back Jaden McDowell goes out with an injury, a yet to be determined injury. They will assess that as or early in the next or early in this coming week. But you know, it really seemed like after Jaden went out, Independence's defense just kind of started playing a little bit more free, more freely. They didn't really have to worry about what Jaden McDowell was going to do, and we've talked about it time and time again, Cole, over the last several seasons. Jaden McDowell is a beast, is a force to be reckoned with when he's healthy and back there in
But
the
he
backfield.
hadn't,
But
you know, he
yeah,
hadn't had a full health. He hadn't had a full season where he's been healthy. That's the bad part. Even he's
right,
played through
yeah,
injuries. I mean,
yeah,
2 years ago he played through injuries. You know, he finished the season, but he was playing through injuries. And
yeah,
just first of all, on the Jaden McDowell note, I hate to see that because you talk about that much talent that kid has,
absolutely,
the way he can impact the game and change the game, and you know, you talk about Independence, what they did defensively. Boy, yeah, I'd play a lot different too
yeah,
defensively when that kid's not out there. So hate it for him. Hope it's not as serious as, you know,
yeah,
people are talking about it being potentially. Obviously, like you said, we don't know for sure until next week, but just hate it for that kid. The quarterback wise, so there's been a quarterback battle going on throughout the summer, Alex, with Javon Gilmore, the Arkansas commit. You have Banks Boughton transfer in. We talked about that a little last week, and I said on the radio last week, look, you got to trust the coaches at Gaffney. I am under the mindset, and I always have been, that, you know, again, I'm not a football coach. Want to be very clear on that, but I think it's, you know, it's a good idea for programs to try to find their guy and go with that guy and allow them to get some confidence and have those, you know, have those drives where they can put consistency together, if you will, find a little bit of continuity. You know, there was an old saying that if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. And look, I'm not saying that always rings true, but I think it's interesting in this situation with Javon Gilmore and Banks Boughton. You want to play both, and you know, competition and practice breeds success. But ultimately, last night, you had the stats in front of you. Not a good night from the quarterback position.
yeah. Not really, Cole. I mean, you talked about Javon Gilmore. Javon, the returning senior starter for Gaffney, got the start at quarterback. Went 5 of 13 for 57 yards, no touchdowns through the air for him. And then, you know, I mean, he had a good drive, got the Indians in scoring territory, handed it off to Jaden before McDowell got hurt. Jaden took it 9 yards, got it into the end zone, and you know, that was a six-play, 62-yard drive that
First
Javon
quarter.
led. First quarter, yeah,
Yeah.
six-play, 62-yard drive that Javon led, but and just a minute and a half of offensive
Yeah.
time. But then the next drive, Banks comes in. It's actually follows a blocked punt. Independence punted. Gaffney blocked it, recovered it at the 3-yard line. So Banks comes in kind of in
Peanut
that.
Bailey, right? Peanut Bailey with a block punt for Gaffney.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I think it was Chance and Michaels.
Gotcha.
Actually,
Gotcha.
transfer from Chapman. So
Okay.
I think,
Yeah.
don't hold me to that, but Banks comes in kind of in that heavy formation,
Sure.
takes the carry himself, and gets the touchdown on a 3-yard run. But no, I mean, you talked about, you know, Javon 5 of 13 through the air, Banks 2 of 5, so neither quarterback really was able to get into a rhythm. And you said the word consistency a while ago, and I think that's really the thing that you've got to look at, is consistency is key here. Neither quarterback was really able to get into a rhythm because, you know, one would take one drive, Javon would come in, Banks would come in the next drive, and it just kind of go back and forth. And, you know, if you're Gaffney, I think you've got to figure out who your quarterback's going to be and kind of stick with that. I think, like you mentioned, if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have a
Yeah.
quarterback at all.
It's interesting. A lot of people have that mindset. A lot of
Yeah,
people are of the mindset, you know, that two are good. And look, I totally get it. You know, I'll be clear. I get both sides of it, and I understand the competition aspect of it. And having competition is a good thing. And ultimately, you and I are just, like I said a minute ago, we're just sitting here talking about it, not coaching, not, you know, in the meetings and the practice weekly. So it's easy for us to say, but at some point, maybe Gaffney does have to make that decision to try to get a little bit more consistency offensively by having one guy out there, whether it's Javon or Banks. I will say this, to be fair, it's tough for either of them when you have two quarterbacks who, think about it, aren't Gaffney kids.
Yeah.
Javon comes in last year, Banks comes in this year, and you have that Gaffney kid, that Mr. Consistent, in the backfield with you, and Jaden McDowell that you can kind of lean on. Even though Jaden doesn't play the quarterback position, he kind of, in a way, is the quarterback just in terms of knowing, everything that's going on the offensive side of the football. He's been with Donnie Littlejohn since the 9th grade, so he kind of is the quarterback in a way,
doubt, yeah.
Of that offense. And when you lose him, it hurts. It hurts. And man, that's your biggest threat, one of your biggest pieces offensively. So tough loss for the Indians last night. And I know Indian fans aren't overreacting or panicking or anything. So
no, they don't do that.
They would never do that. So it'll be interesting to see, though. Bounce back game next week potentially against another former Gaffney coach and Bryce Smiley, or another candidate rather, as they had again that Darryl McFadden matchup between him and Donnie Littlejohn. McFadden applied for the job. We'll get into what happened with Spartanburg as well as Byrnes Rebels.
Mike will be hot in 3 seconds. Mike is hot in 3, 2. Mike is hot.
A big night. Week 0 is in the books. officially in the high school football season for 2025. Welcome into the Saturday Morning Scramble. He's Alex Guest. I'm Cole Bryson. We're live this morning at 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. It's the Powdersville location. We've got Ethan O'Brien, Nick Owens, Aiden Herron, and Anthony Freight from Wren High School joining us in about 10 to 15 minutes on the Fan Upstate, talking about a little bit about Wren and their big win last night, previewing the Hurricanes and what they can do in 2025. We're going to get into Spartanburg, Byrnes a little bit later, a lot of other teams that we haven't touched on. Let's go to the phone lines, though, where you can call into the show if you were at a game last night, 844-326-3663. Kevin from Inman, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm all right, buddy. How you doing? How you doing this morning?
Good to hear from you. We're doing fantastic. Appreciate you calling as always. I know you're a big Chapman guy over there. A tough one last night for the Panthers, huh?
Yeah, it was rough last night, buddy. It was rough last night, man. But when I say this, a lot of people are gonna be like, I don't understand how that happened. But the defense actually played pretty good last night, man. Played but until they got tired, and you can only go a certain amount of series and your offense ain't scoring, that your defense gonna get tired and they're gonna hit a big play and they just start wearing you down. So
Sure.
like this, it was close for a long time, but our offense is so really young, man. Like we've already lost 4 starters on the offensive line, so we're down to the second string, and they all paper thin, and they all just fresh green.
Wait, what did you just say? What you said? You've already lost 4 starters on the offensive line.
We've already lost about 4 starters on the offensive line.
To what? Is this
crazy injuries, man? When you see
good?
all,
God.
it's like, how did that? Like he didn't even fall harder, like he turned his knee hard.
In preseason or what, Kev?
In I think a couple in practice, and the rest of them.
Oh my gosh, that's awful.
So, right. So we got sophomores and juniors everywhere.
Wow.
All across the thing, but just most of the linemen are sophomores, but at the same time, you young and you young all year. But once the season starts, now you're a football player, and you got to find that groove and start getting into it.
Sure.
But it's gonna take a while to get that cohesiveness back with the line, because you already missed so many, and now you got like you starting a whole new one. But the thing is, it ain't no quit it in that blue and orange up there, and we got another week to go back, put it on the drawing board, and start over.
And, the thing about it is, Kev, Daniel, good team, no doubt. The thing about it is, it's just for Chapman, you want to figure out how to get better. But, man, that non-region schedule doesn't do you any favors, right?
None, because you got to try to scrape pieces together and get these boys loaded for the conference. But you got 4 more gauntlets that you got to go through to try to get there and stay healthy and do all that. I mean, a lot of people go out and put people on the schedule that's, okay, yeah, we can beat them by 30. No, we want that schedule to where we can be ready down the road in the playoffs and stuff like that. So we get going back to the drawing board and start over, man. Like, you can't. I can see if it was somebody. That's Daniel, man. Daniel's been in the running for the last 5, 6, 7 plus years. Even in the 90s and all that, man, Daniel was always. I know they had a few years where they were down, I believe. But other than that, Daniel's gonna make that turn every year.
And what is it? St. Joe's next week? Is that right, Alex?
Yeah.
St. Joe's.
Getting in the car and going down 85. I've never been to St. Joe's, so I don't know what they got going on down there. What stadium or area they got.
Look, that was a game that you guys won last year, right? Chapman won that game a season ago over at Chapman. St. Joe's beat Cardinal Newman last night. I don't know a ton about Cardinal Newman, but St. Joe's with Coach Nash, former Wofford guy, player and coach over there, they do run a little bit of that old Wofford style offense, right?
I believe it.
Yeah. So, look, man, I know it's tough.
About 35 minutes.
Yeah, I know it's tough offensively. Hopefully, though, Kev, they can figure something out offensively. But to your point, you're right. It is Daniel.
Yeah, it's Daniel. Now, the good thing you can do is be mad at that score that got put up, and now you don't like it. So now St. Joe's got to deal with a teed off Chapman team next week. Now, do you take that as players and run with it? Like, hey, no, we're not doing that no more. And on our home field, we're going out here and make St. Joe's pay for it.
Yeah.
Is that the way in times of kids now, or do they
That's right.
take that and lick wounds all week?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but If you take the ladder and then like, look, I'm punching in your mouth. Like, I don't know who we got to play next week. I tell you what, if they move when I get down there, I'm hitting.
There you go. I like it.
That's how we got to look at it.
Good luck next week, Kev, with your Chapman Panthers. Hopefully you guys can get back on the right track. Appreciate you, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. 844-326-3663. Texter, this comes from Tolo J. Butane. He says, y'all should be talking about one player from Woodruff. He will not only go D1, he has league potential. Freshman running back Jalen Lyles. He has that Saquon Barry instinct and field vision. Give it a year or two. The talent is undeniable, says Tolo J. Butane.
He say he was a sophomore?
Says running back. I mean, a freshman running back.
Freshman running back.
Freshman,
yeah, I mean,
freshman.
4 carries, 18 yards, and a touchdown last night. So
How was that again?
4 carries, 18 yards, and a touchdown.
And they've got a lot of talent, man. So he'll probably get more
Ton
and
of talent. Yeah.
more carries. Woodruff stacked this year. They're going to be good. That's interesting. And, you know, to Kev's point about Chapman as well, it's tough when you open against Daniel. You really don't know, Daniel's tough. And when you play one of the best teams, you don't know exactly, if they're that good or if you're that bad or if it's somewhere in the middle. So I think those guys will
then
improve.
You talked about the rest of the non-region schedule. You got St. Joe's next week, Boiling Springs, Clinton, Christchurch, Felton Honeypath.
Is that right?
Yeah. Not an easy
Well, that
non-region
just shows you
schedule.
how important this game coming up on Friday is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Against St. Joe's. Spartanburg, we'll dive back more into Spartanburg Byrnes later in hour number 2. But Spartanburg last night, Alex, a little bit of a tough road for those guys going into that game. What I mean is they found out that, or they knew that they were going to be without Trey Burke, starting quarterback. He rolled up his ankle, I believe, in that scrimmage over at Gaffney a week ago.
Yeah.
He was in a boot all week. So Trey Burke, I was told on Tuesday or Wednesday or so that he probably wouldn't be a go for Friday night. And with a backup quarterback going against Paige Wofford's Trojans, not an easy test or an easy task, rather, Alex. So tough loss for those guys. And I wish I could say for Spartanburg it gets easier, but they get Tom Knotts this week. So I don't know if anybody opens with a tougher first 1-2 punch with Northwestern and Dutch Fork.
Yeah, Northwestern, Dutch Fork. And Dutch Fork did not have a week 0 game. So next week will be their.
Oh, they didn't play last night.
No, did not play last night. So next week will be their first season action.
Yeah.
And not sure what they did last night, if they maybe scrimmaged or something
probably
like that.
Watch Spartanburg, Northwestern, I can imagine, or doing that right now, right?
But you got to think Dutch Fork, I guess the last taste that they have in their mouth is last week, that jamboree against Gaffney.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, so not off. Look, Spartanburg, I think, will be okay. I mean, look, you're playing Northwestern. You're without your quarterback. Spartanburg did cut the deficit. They were up last night. It was 27-7. Spartanburg cut the deficit, but Northwestern rolled on. And Trenton Lynch had a 22-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. So he's going to be good. They've got a really good running back. They've got pieces. Again, when your quarterback's not playing, obviously it's difficult, but it'll be really interesting to watch Spartanburg and how they rebound. Hopefully they get the quarterback back against Dutch Fork.
Hopefully so.
I wouldn't want to have to get on 26 and get on there without your starting quarterback.
Not at all.
Boot or no boot. We'll see how that goes. All right, we'll take a break, come back. Hour number 2 of the show rolls on. We're live at Ingalls, 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. It's the Powdersville location. Hour number 2 next, right here on the Fan Upstate. road in Piedmont. It's the Powdersville location as we are talking a little Wren Hurricanes football on the show this morning with you. He's Alex Guest. I'm Cole Bryson. So good to be with you on the Saturday Scramble talking high school football, joined by Anthony Freight, the head football coach at Wren. Coach, this Ingalls is the Piedmont address, but I was told by locals several times we're here. It's not Piedmont, it's Powdersville. Is that right?
Well, I guess that's the way the locals refer to it. You know,
One of those blurred
I
areas.
think if we go about another 500 feet, we're over here in Powdersville, 153. But
Right.
yeah, we're right on the cusp.
Absolutely. Again, good to be joined by Coach Anthony Freight, the head
Appreciate
football
having us.
coach. Man, good to have you. Good to spotlight some players that'll join us here in about 10 minutes on the show. And, man, what a way to open the season. Week 0 for you guys on the road at Palmetto. You were telling me a kind of in-district rivalry between you guys and a big, big win. Talk about that win last night.
Yeah, you know, I was just really proud of, you know, the temperature at which we played. I felt like, and by that I mean like the intensity, the focus. There was just an incredible amount of, you know, we're just aggressiveness, just going at them. And I was impressed with our guys because, you know, you can scrimmage and you can go against this team and that team. And, you know, we had a tough preseason schedule. We you know, we played Seneca, we played Woodmont, or I'm sorry, we played Spartanburg, we played Crest. It's not really a measuring stick until you really get into a game.
Sure.
And I was just impressed with our guys from that standpoint. So, you know, I feel really confident that we got a pretty good group this year.
No doubt about it. And again, we'll hear from some of your players in a few minutes right here on the Fan Upstate. When you went into this game, obviously last night was a big win for you guys on the scoreboard, but did you feel like watching game planning from the coach's standpoint that you guys could have that big night?
Honestly, we didn't know. You know, unfortunately for Coach, they had a jamboree. Talking about Coach Norton, they had a jamboree that got rained out. So, you know, going off scrimmage film's tough because in preseason you're trying to get everybody reps, you're trying to evaluate, and you're trying to create an identity, but there's a lot of moving pieces there. So it was difficult. I know I was stressed out about it, you know, because they had a running quarterback that you know, could really hurt you with his legs, and then they had a couple guys that could throw it around a little bit, and you know, when that's like, you know, 2 or 3 different offenses. So I was worried about that, to be honest with you. So last night was a nice surprise.
We're joined by head coach Anthony Freight right here on the Fan Upstate, the head football coach at Wren, a 42-0 win over Palmetto last night. You mentioned identity. What do you and your staff want this team, 2025's team identity to be?
Fast, physical, smart, unified, aggressive. You know, we want to have composure, you know, all the things that, you know, I think the biggest thing that we need to do if we're going to be a great team is get over the hump and win some more close games.
Sure.
And, you know, in the last 2 years, we've unfortunately lost some close games, and we've got to learn, you know, those games don't have to be close if we don't make these different mistakes. And then if we are in that close game where we get over the top to make it close, how do we win that game? And I think, you know, that's in my mind as a coach, putting our players in a position of where we can get over that hump and win those tight games consistently, and you know, really compete at a high level with the best teams in the state.
What do you feel like you're able to do now that you've been the head coach at Wren a few years that you maybe weren't able to do in the first couple of years? Obviously, building the program takes a little while.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, to be honest with you, that one of the best things that happened was just sitting down with administration, our AD Stan Yarborough, and our principal Kyle Whitfield, and just, you know, like, what's the vision here? How can we get from point A to point B? And they were very open minded. And you know, we've got our guys in the weight room, you know, year round now. And at Wren, that's difficult. And we had to change some structure of, you know, teaching and things like that in order to get not only the football players, but all the athletes in year long. That's our vision. And they were very open-minded to that. And because of that, our strength numbers have gone through the roof. Our speed, explosiveness, power, it's all increased. And, you know, we're talking about 3 guys that have been in the weight room for, you know, 2+ years, but year long. Sure. And Nick, our strong safety, actually missed a semester because of some scheduling issues. And It was his 2 years ago, his spring or his junior or his spring semester when he's running track, and he was, he vocalized to us, man, this is tough. This is tough because I'm not lifting. And he was a good case study for us that we need to get them all in there, as many as possible. And then it also helps build the unity with the middle school, because now you don't have kids lifting after school, and then the middle school kids can come over after school, and that facility's freed up so that we can have 40, 50 middle schoolers come over. And it's really let us be more unified, bridge that gap. And we've got a strength coach that's second to none. He's phenomenal. Coach Rhodes, Sid Rhodes, the younger of the two Rhodes we have on staff. And he's a Ren grad, and he was a Ren great. He went and played at Carolina, and now he's back serving, and works with track, does the strength and conditioning, does our special teams. Special teams had a big night last night too. So it all started really with the weight room.
All three phases of the game last night as Wren got a 42-0 win over Palmetto. Offensively, we talked about those 42 points, but talk about your defense. Being able to pitch a shutout in week 0, pretty impressive.
Week 0 is always squirrely. And, being a defensive guy, I'm always nervous going into a game like this when you don't have a true identity of what your team is and their offense is. And, again, just the aggressiveness by which everybody played. There were very few moments where I felt we didn't take the foot off the pedal. A couple bright spots last night. We had JT Forrester coming and make some big plays. I think, he had a sack or two. Ethan, who's here today, he's been playing great for 3 years. He played phenomenally last night. We had Cole Ramey last night have a pick 6. His older brother started for us for 2 years, and he's kind of back there being the Swiss Army knife for us. And they tried to throw a check route over there to the field on their sidelines, and he just jumped it and waltzed in the end zone. So there were some really good things that happened. I think the amount of negative plays we had was very encouraging. And then the fact that we didn't give up any big plays. We've got certain goals that we look at. What's the percentage of third down conversions? What's the percentage of fourth down conversions? What's the percentage of their pass completions? What's the, did we give up X amount of big plays? Did we, and it all kind of builds into like a winning, those are the components of what we believe to be a winning, performance defensively. And we did a lot of those last night. So I was proud of them.
Offensively, a lot of pieces. What do you feel like this offensive identity can be? We know names like Carson Bryant, Jacob Owens, a lot of pieces offensively you guys have to work with in 2025.
Yeah, we're replacing, Reese Price and Colton Bagwell that, were 1,000-yard rushers the last 2 years. Colton was a, 68, 65% completion percentage guy. Big shoes to fill, and we're putting them on our sophomore Jacob Owens. And, we've got 2 new running backs, Muntu Brown and JoJo. And, JoJo Mosley last night, he's been, got a little groin thing going on last couple weeks, been kind of light on him. And all he does last night is, I don't know, it was like 12 carries for 108 yards or something like that. And did it, and it's like, man. And then, Muntu gets in, and it's his first year. He's only been playing football for like 3 years. And he goes in, and he's like, 15 carries for 102 yards or something like that. I don't remember. But my point is, all those things can't happen without our identity, which you asked about, which is up front, our offensive line.
Sure.
And, our up front, our offensive line is the tone center. They are the thermostat. They're not the temperature. They are the thermostat. They set that temperature for everybody. And there's times where, they are so aggressive and play so hard. It's like, whew, like, all right, relax a little bit here now. All right.
Yeah.
But
it's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah, but it's great because we're learning that, and they're so physical, and they're so well coached. And, I'm proud of those guys. And that's going to be our identity with the crew we got. And, it certainly helps us get the ball to Carson. It certainly helps them get the ball to Aiden out there. But when you can run the ball and, establish it, have 2 running backs go for 100 yards, and then, you look up and Jacob last night threw for 75%. I think he was 12 of 16 for 154 yards. And so he had a great night too. It was his first start as a sophomore. So, we're excited about that, but our identity offensively is going to start up front.
Coach, last question for you before we get to your players. Your week 1 opponent had a big win last night, easily, and a big win over Pickens. Yeah. I know Saturday morning, you probably hadn't had a ton of time to watch him yet. What do you know about Easley?
I got a lot of respect for Coach Houston over there. He's a phenomenal human being. I know he's over there. He's building. I don't know a ton about him. I haven't gotten a chance to watch him.
Sure.
I think we just got the exchange this morning, and I do know that's a fierce rivalry. Last year I think Pickens won in overtime, 47-41, and that was a tough game. So, we're going to dig in and kind of evaluate them over the next 24 hours and get a game plan going. I do know that our communities, really relish the opportunity to get together.
Yeah.
And they enjoy the game. So, when Sam got the job, it was like, called him up immediately. He was like, hey, you want to do this thing again? Because it went away for a while. He said, absolutely. We'd love to do the rivalry game. So I got a lot of respect for what he's doing over there. And, certainly we hope we can come out on top next week. So, the beginning of our season is all rivals. It's all the local rivals. It's Palmetto, it's Easley, it's Powdersville and Hanna, so it's 4 rivalry games really for us in terms of a regional atmosphere. And we're excited about opening up the season like that.
Coach, we appreciate your time as always. Thank you guys for coming
absolutely.
out. And we're going to see, you got your guys trained up media wise. Are they ready? No intimidation when they put the headset on.
I think if I were to guess, I think Aiden's going to be really good. He's just
talkative. Is he the talkative one?
I don't know if he's talkative, but he's pretty cool as a cucumber.
Okay.
Right.
Aiden is.
I'd say Nick is probably the one that you got to watch. If anybody's going to ad lib and go rogue, it'd probably be Nick.
Right here, Nick.
Yeah.
So
Nick's
Aiden,
in the
Ethan.
Zeppelin shirt. Yeah.
Okay.
And that tells a story right there,
That's right.
But that's Nick. He comes rolling in with the Zeppelin shirt, But that's who he is. We love him. And then Ethan's more the strong silent type.
There you go.
And his brother was on the Roar yesterday, so I'm getting some of these guys to come on out and do some of this. But Ethan's been a big part of us for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But he's one of our captains. 2 out of 3 of these guys are captains, and Aiden is applying to West Point. He's in that process.
How about that?
He's a phenomenal young man.
That's awesome.
So we're extremely excited about this.
Well, I'll let you hand the headset to Ethan. We'll get
Perfect.
Ethan, Nick, and Aiden, if you don't mind, as we're going to be joined by the players, and that is Coach Anthony Freight. Again, I'm just saying Ethan here, Nick here, Aiden here. That way I can not forget their names, Alex, because you know how bad I am. They can go ahead and come over too if they want to. All 3 of them. We can get all 3 at one time. Ethan, is that right?
Yes, sir.
How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Are you going to be the best interview of the 3?
Of
are
course.
you calling your shot now?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like it. So Ethan O'Brien, senior defensive end, joining us. Also, Nick Owens and Aiden Herron. We'll get those guys on headset as well. And Alex will get our volume set here, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah.
Ethan, we'll start with you, man. Big win last night for you guys. A little bit of a rivalry game. Anderson School's going at it. You guys with a big win over Palmetto on the road. Talk about being able to pitch the shutout from a defense standpoint last night.
Yes.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
What went into the game plan for you guys?
We just knew they were going to be, very technical. They did have some good athletes. They're aggressive off the line. I wasn't really expecting anything too crazy.
Sure. What's their offense for those that don't know? When you're going against a team like Palmetto, what's their offense look like?
Their offense, not really big-bodied up front, but kind of like just technical, and they pull a lot.
Sure.
Power, counter,
sure.
all that stuff.
And you'll see that a little bit later in the year too,
Yeah.
when you play Hanna. Again, Ethan O'Brien, senior defensive end, senior safety Nick Owens. Nick, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Let's bump him a little off there. I know Alex is doing his best trying to get all the volume controls.
Got to figure out which
I know
one these guys are
the
on.
struggle with where they are, right? Nick, we were told you were the wild card. Do you take offense to that?
I mean, that's just coach. I don't know what to say.
I like it.
To tell you.
Defense last night, man. I asked your co-part here, Ethan. You guys able to come out and we'll get to Aiden on the offense side of the football in a second. But Nick, last night you guys pitched a shutout. Ethan talked about what went into that. defensively. Did you guys go into that game feeling like, man, we can go out here and really dominate like we did last night?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we got to come out with confidence and be physical, dominate the line of scrimmage. We did very well stopping the run. So, I mean, we knew what we were going to see. They were going to move left to right, set the edge well, and we were very physical. So we got what we expected. We came out, we shut them out. That was the plan. So,
Nick, you're in the secondary. Ethan, you're obviously on the line of scrimmage.
Yes, sir.
When it comes to setting that tone, that physicality, start with you. It starts with you guys up front.
Yes.
He may disagree with that. Well, what allowed you guys to really to set the tone last night early? Is it the confidence you guys play with? Because a lot of times, like your coach said, week 0, there's going to be some things that happen. But for you guys as a defense to be able to go out and set the tone early, that's big.
Yes. It's a lot of confidence, but we'll always play with a lot of aggression.
Sure.
As much as we can. So that really sets the tone up front.
We also have senior tight end Aiden Herron with us right here on the Fan Upstate. Aiden, they've said that they're going to be better on the radio than you on the offensive side of the ball. Are you going to take that from them? Let's try that again. Let's see. He's in. Let's see here. What number is that? What's that number?
that's
say,
6.
Alex?
Speak up, Aiden.
No, I don't think it's Aiden's fault. Aiden, can you hear us? Alex is going to swap and give you his little. You always have a little technical difficulties here and there, so we'll try to get you on that headset. Aiden Herron, senior tight end for the Wren Hurricanes. You heard from Anthony Freight a minute ago. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, I
How
can.
about that? Alex, you break the headset?
I guess.
That one's not. You got to just yell. You just got to yell really, really loud. Tight end Aiden Herron. Last night, you guys able to not only defensively pitch the shutout, but offensively talk about what went into the game plan, the preparation leading into that game against Palmetto.
I mean, looking at Palmetto, like they're very, they have like an identity of what they do. So it wasn't really a question of what they were going to do. It was just we looked at them and we just wanted to dominate them physically at the line and just run the ball.
In your position, more run blocking, more pass catching. Talk about what you do for this football team.
Well, I would say it's a lot more blocking, but I enjoy getting to run routes and get out there and catch the ball.
What's your favorite route to run?
Favorite route? I would say probably the dig.
Okay, why?
It's always open.
Always open.
Always open.
Always open. You sure about
Always
that?
open. You might be open in a different spot. You might got to wait a little longer, but it's always open.
We're going to work our way back to Nick now. Of the three of you guys, who do you think is the funniest, the comedian? If we went away from football and had to go into comedy right now, who would be the best comedian on the team?
Oh, well, I mean, I think personality-wise, it's got to be Ethan. Some of the stuff he says, and, he's got a contagious laugh, smile. But if we're talking about pure jokes, I think I got some stuff up my sleeve. It's
really?
pretty funny.
That is true.
You think
Yeah.
so?
I think so.
I like that. Would you agree on that, Abe?
Are we talking about like just the three of us right here? Who's
Three
the
of us
funniest?
right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Of the three.
Oh, okay. I don't know, man. I think in certain situations, Ethan has probably made me laugh more times.
We're
Same.
joined by senior defensive end Ethan O'Brien, Nick Owens, plays in secondary as well, and tight end Aiden Herron. All three seniors for Wren, the Wren Hurricanes, with a big win last night over Palmetto. Who's the strongest of the three?
That would be Ethan. No question.
No question, no debate there.
535 squat. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
535.
Yes, sir.
That's impressive.
5 plates from Aiden Herron, too, though.
Big 500.
I know this is crazy. I am somehow the weakest squat, but I feel good about my squat. Like,
You should.
What is yours?
it's 425.
That's pretty good.
impressive.
Pretty good.
Well,
I mean,
to
when you're
these
sitting
guys,
next, to these guys. Coach talked about you guys being able to be in the weight room a lot more over the offseason. What do you feel like, Ethan? We'll start with you on that. What do you feel like that's done for the team?
The weight room is definitely my favorite part about football, and I just love going out there and, just lifting away.
How's that translate to Friday night?
It's translating up front, more aggression, like I said.
Yeah.
We can definitely manhandle a lot more guys and take up double teams more, not get blown off the ball.
For sure. Aiden, I want to ask you the same question. Obviously, strong guy over there playing tight end. Do you feel like since your time now that you're a senior that you've seen this team not only improve in other areas, but your coach talked a lot about the weight room. Is that something you feel
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
you guys have really stepped
There's
up?
been a lot of growth in the weight room, and I mean, we have a great weightlifting coach, Coach Rhodes. I mean, he's got a great program. I can say without a doubt, everybody in that weight room is getting stronger every day.
Sure. And then Nick, I want to ask you defensively, what do you see in the secondary when you're looking, at your defensive line, looking at Ethan, what they're doing? Are you a guy that in the secondary that's trying to almost be the quarterback of the defense? Talk about what your role is.
Well, the Mike he's the middle linebacker.
Sure.
He's the guy who's going to call the strength and move everybody around, get everybody aligned. But, I mean, I just play my game, get the call. I'm not really worried about putting everybody in their spot. I just play my game, set the edge. I'm in my own world on the field, honestly. So
in the secondary, any interceptions in the future this season?
I would hope so.
How many? Give me a number.
3.
3. I like that. Did you come close at all last night, or they keep it on the ground a lot last night?
It was a lot of outward passes
I
and
got you.
on the ground. So, yeah.
Might have to come up and get you maybe a fumble, maybe, possibly.
Fumble recovery, I got 2 last year, I think. So
2?
I could do that.
Of the 3 of you, I want to go back to a little bit more of a fun question. After football, okay, let's say life after football, I want each of you to tell me, like, for example, Ethan, I want you to tell me what Nick and Aiden will be life after football. And then, obviously, Nick, I want you to do the same thing for Ethan and Aiden.
Okay.
Aiden, you do the same thing for Nick and
All
Ethan.
right.
Ethan, you go first.
Sorry,
though.
with me. Nick, I'm gonna say you're gonna be a
10
some
years
kinda-
from now.
let's go on a doctor. Like I'm gonna go into
Oh,
a
wow.
doctor's office and I'm gonna see you in your little coat,
Okay.
I could see that. Maybe you kind of have that dentist look.
like a dentist. Yeah.
A dentist look.
Really interesting. I might have to
Is
look
he
into
right
that.
or wrong on that? I mean, anywhere close?
Hey, you never know what the future holds.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Ethan, what about for Aiden?
Aiden, I feel like you'd be a good plumber. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna see you in my house. You're gonna be plumbing.
All right.
You didn't invite me over there. You're just gonna find me in there plumbing.
Nick, what about for Ethan and Aiden?
Ethan is going to be a bodybuilder or a power lifter, and Aiden is going to be a country music star.
Wow,
Okay.
really? Are we? Is a little bit of singing in the future, maybe?
Maybe we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Who's your favorite country singer?
Favorite country singer right now? It might be a little recency bias, but I've definitely been listening to a lot of Tyler Childers lately.
Okay.
He dropped a new album.
All right, your turn, Aiden. What
Okay.
about for Ethan and Nick? 10 years from now, where will they be?
10 years from now, I think Ethan O'Brien is going to be on some construction site, just hauling around some lumber.
I like that. I like that. What about for Nick?
I was actually going to say I would see Nick as in a cover band, something like that.
You
I
play
could see that.
instruments, Nick?
Yeah, I play guitar.
Do you?
Yeah.
Big music guy.
Big music guy. I love music.
I see that. It's a Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin T-shirt there. I like it.
Well,
You
thank
guys this week going against Easley. Talk about last question for each of you. You can go one at a time. What's the preparation look like as a player, senior? Obviously, watching film is part of it. You get out next week and practice as well. When do you begin that process, and what's that look like?
Monday we're gonna start film. During school day, and we get to watch it on our own. I've already been watching some film this morning, so seeing what they're kind of gonna look like. So,
Nick, when does that process start?
When I get
The
home
right answer is
after
today,
this.
right?
Yeah.
The right answer is now. Like
Yeah,
like Ethan
100%.
said. What do you guys look for, like from Nick, your standpoint, being on defense and Aiden offensively when you're watching film on another team? What are things you look for?
For us, it's definitely we'll see, how they're going to line up to our formations and stuff like that. Just clean up the blocking schemes, making the adjustments we have to. But as much as we look at them, we definitely worry about ourselves. We can play our game.
Absolutely. Well, guys, appreciate you being here. Best of luck this season, and we'll catch up with you. Hopefully, a lot more wins coming this year.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
We'll take a break, come back, continue the conversation. It is the Saturday morning scramble right here on the Fan Upstate. We clear?
By Founders Federal Credit Union.
Yeah, clear. I took it out of utility. Sorry.
This is the Fan Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Streaming everywhere on the Odyssey app.
From
You want to add anything to this commercial break?
WORD Weather Center, here's the Carolina Coast forecast on the Fan upstate. Chance for showers with fog and spots early today. Otherwise cloudy. High of 80. Winds out of the east 5 to 10 miles per hour. And meteorologist Jennifer Luchinski on the Fan upstate. Right now, it's 72 degrees.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can all relax. You can all take a deep breath because you have officially made it. The off season is over. Today is the day that college football begins. No, it's not a super sexy slate of games, though we do have a top 25 matchup today. Who the hell cares? What matters is college football's underway. What matters is Monday morning on the Rob Brown Show, we are talking college football start to finish, left to right, top to bottom, down the whole day long, 6 till 10 a.m. Monday morning on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Injured? Just call Joy Law Firm. 864-888-8888.
Has the summer been hard on your carpets? Is company coming for the holidays? Now is the time to let Kelly's Carpet Connection floor you with our quality carpet, vinyl, laminates, and hardwood featuring LVT that's 100% waterproof and great for kids and pets. Call 249-3444 or stop by Kelly's Carpet Connection. Between
All right,
Sundays
John, will
and
you call a
breakfast
coach for me
Main
real
Street
quick?
in Duncan. Kelly's Carpet Connection.
Yes, I
open
can.
9 to 5:30 weekdays and 9 to 3 on Saturday. Let Kelly's Carpet Connection floor you. Set your kids up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Just like learning the rules of football, understanding money management. Is
Okay,
crucial.
what's the
Founders
number?
Products and educational resources help teach
Yeah.
kids the basics of saving, budgeting.
Check.
Yeah.
Check.
And reading the
Yeah.
skills they need to move the chains on their financial
Okay, what's the? Do you have the number for the coach?
SmartStart, federally insured by NCUA.
Right.
Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Instincts, right? Instincts. But you know what, though? As a coach, I guess you'd have to rather pull them back than.
40 seconds.
Text 71307.
Mike is hot
My
right now.
favorite fan.
This is the Saturday morning scramble on the Fan Upstate.
Want to say thanks to Coach Anthony Freight and the guys at Wren. A fantastic time this morning talking a little Wren football with Coach Anthony Freight. And, man, what a big win for them last night. We also talked to Ethan O'Brien, Nick Owens, and Aiden Herron, all three seniors, Alex. Did you get the headset figured out? What we do? Break ahead?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Now it's working. It wasn't working.
Well, that's
Oh, that's
no,
a different one.
that's me. Yeah,
I
that's
got
me.
you. You sound great.
I think it was the port. Yeah, it's a bad port here. So
You broke it. Let's blame the players.
yeah,
right?
let's blame the players. I
Nah,
mean,
they were awesome, man.
I mean,
Again,
players get blamed on Friday
That's
nights when
right,
stuff
yeah,
goes wrong.
yeah.
You know, so I mean,
absolutely. A big shout out to them again. Appreciate their time coming out today. Let's do this. We're going to have Matthew Rochester, the Riverside head football coach, on with us in just a second. Alex, again, will you run through some of the scores from last night for the new audience that just tuned in? We'll have Coach Matthew Rochester on the show shortly.
I will quickly run through the scores for you, Cole.
Let's do
It's
it.
56-34 winners for Easley over Pickens last night. Dorman a 34-0 win over Hillcrest. Dorman a 34-0 win over Greenville. Hillcrest a 56-17 winner over Lawrence. J.O. Man and Midland Valley got rained out last night. They will play tonight. Change of location at Midland Valley tonight at 5 p.m. Riverside, we'll talk to Matthew Rochester here in just a minute. They got a big 41-21 win over Malden last night. Game that you called right here on the airwaves, 30-10. Byrnes a winner over T.L.Hanna. Boiling Springs 23-18 winners over Greer. Eastside 51-6 winners home against Southside. Gaffney drops their season opener 27-21 to Independence out of Charlotte. Spartanburg falls to Northwestern 39-7 final in that one. Travelers Rest a 13-10 winner over Wade Hampton. Fountain Inn 48-14 winners over Liberty. Big win for the Fury last night. Wren 42-0 winners over Palmetto.
We'll get to the rest of them in just
fun.
a few minutes. Let's go to the phone lines, and we're joined now by Matthew Rochester, the head football coach of the Riverside Warriors. A big win to open the season last night. Coach, how are you, man?
Doing well. Great to be back out on the.
Absolutely, man. High school football back. Good to hear from you. Appreciate you taking time to join us, talk a little high school football. Coach, you got us okay? We lost you for a second. Coach, can you hear us?
Nope. Yeah, I got you.
Sorry about that. Great to be back on the field. Obviously, with high school football being back, I'm sure you guys were eager to get out there and hit somebody else other than, playing against the same competition every day. Talk about last night's win, man. A big win for you guys over a scrappy team that, that Andre Cook's doing a good job of building over at Malden. And that game at times was close last night, but you guys able to pull away late. A big win for Riverside.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Cook's done a great job in his short time being there in Malden. They had a great-looking team last night. We stood out there. Those guys look really good. You can see, he's really changing the process and the program over there. They started off, they had a really good drive to start the game. Started out 7-0, got down, and we had a little bit of struggles on the offense a little bit early. But again, we were able to get it going late, throughout the second and third quarter. We kind of slowed down the fourth quarter again on offense, but defense came up huge with multiple turnovers. Special teams were also huge. We had a turnover on special teams. So we was able to flip the game there and capitalize on those turnovers, and was really proud of the way we fought and the toughness of the guys. It was a humid night. We had some cramps out there. So just really proud of the team and how they fought overall.
We're joined by Matthew Rochester, the head football coach at Riverside, for just a few minutes on the Fan Upstate. Coach, talk about there was a crazy sequence. I mean, Malden jumped out 7-0. Keon Knowles, tied it for Riverside. Malden fumbles the next kickoff. Zakari scores, and then the next kickoff, Tamari Shepard for Malden takes. I mean, there was a wild sequence. 2 or 3 kickoffs in a row. What was that like as a coach, trying to just kind of settle your team down and maybe not allow Malden to take advantage of what was happening there?
Oh, yeah. And I think that was something I talked about with the team after. You hit the nail on the hair there. Because I did the same thing after the game. As it was teams in the past that we've had, may not have come back from that.
Sure.
That strong start by them. And so I was really proud of the way that they fought back. And it was just like you said, it was an up and down game. And they battled through those. Really proud of the way that Keon played and some of those guys on offense with those big plays. Defense played strong with those turnovers, like you said, but really good job on having some mental toughness and fighting through those emotions of that roller coaster game there. But just really proud of the way they held themselves together during the game.
Coach, what's that do to get a win in week 0 for your team, trying to build something over at Riverside? What's that do for the confidence of this group?
Yeah, I think anywhere you are, when you start the season 1-0, you've been preaching that all season. You got to go 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, and that's kind of our saying as a team. We're 1-0 until Sunday. Then once we get back to work, we're 0-0. We got to go 1-0 the next week. So we take it 1 week at a time, and for our guys, before I got to Riverside 6-7 years ago, it was those guys can't win. Those guys aren't tough. So. I told them last night, we found a way to get tough and we found a way to win, and we got to continue and do that every week.
Coach, I know you don't know a ton about Greenville with being Saturday morning. You probably hadn't had a chance to turn on the film yet. What do you know about this Greenville team?
Well, I know Coach Scoot Watson is the head coach, and I know any team coached by him is going to be a pretty well-coached team. They're going to be solid. They played a really good Dorman team on Friday night that's well improved. And so, it's gonna be another tough challenge. They're gonna be coming into us on another home game for us, and so it'll be huge. We played them 2 times last year and was able to win both times, and so to beat any team 3 times in a row is hard, no matter what the season is. So, Coach Watson's gonna have those guys ready to go. They're gonna have some athletes all over the field. I believe they got a defensive end with an offer from Georgia, so it'll be interesting. I think it'll be another fun night of football for us, and just excited to get to work for another week.
Coach, congratulations on the win last night. Best of luck Friday night at home against Greenville, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely, Cole. Appreciate you guys, and thank you guys for what you do for high school football.
Absolutely. Matthew Rochester, the head football coach at Riverside. That was a big win for them last night. And you know, what's interesting is he talked about the good start, Alex. They've got a chance, and I know Greenville will be tough, but Riverside's got a chance to really open the season 2-0, and looking at their schedule, wouldn't that be big in the region they're in?
Oh man, that'd be great for Riverside to open the season 2-0. You know, Coach Rochester mentioned when he got to Riverside, it was kind of the mantra of, well, Riverside doesn't win football games. Riverside's not a football school. They don't. And I just went back and counted it up. In the 11 seasons prior to Coach Rochester getting to Riverside, they won a total of 16 games. And since he's been there, 2021, his first season, they went 7-4. So they had 7 wins, 4 wins, 5 wins, 6 wins.
That's impressive.
And now, you know, a big win last night over Malden to start the season for them, and Greenville and Christchurch before region play starts. So it'd be impressive. It'd be huge for Riverside to start the season 3-0.
Who's their first region game?
Dorman.
Wow. That would be big. It really would. So, to your point, with that history there, Matthew Rochester's done a phenomenal job at that program. Riverside's, to what he said as well, they're building something, and it's cool to see. A game we hadn't got into yet, two I want to touch on specifically. We touched on Woodruff Clinton back in hour number 1 of the show, but Hillcrest Lawrence last night, as well as Byrnes T.L.Hanna. 2 games I want to touch on before we look at week 1. Alex, Jalen Samuel, big night for Hillcrest last night, coming out against Lawrence. It's kind of like a reunion in a way for Greg Porter, right, coming over to Greenville for that game to Greenville County. Gavin Sullivan, a really big night offensively. But, man, how about Jackson Free last night for Hillcrest? I mean, what a night he had. We've talked a lot about him. We talked a lot about him last year before people really knew who he was, right? And
is he good?
I'd say so.
Okay.
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say so, to say the least. Last night, Alex, 10 of 16, 290 yards again, 3 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown. Player of the week type stuff right there. Jackson Free, again, 10 of 16, 290 yards. And man, I saw him in that scrimmage against Dorman, and it was only 3-0, only 3 quarters, right? And it's preseason. You can't take a line from it, but Jackson has a way he has an ability to where he can not only extend plays, but also allow the offense to look different in a lot of ways just because of what he can do with his legs. I think he has one of the abilities that you don't see a lot, Alex, from quarterbacks that can move the pocket and also keep the play alive at the same time while making good decisions. There was one play last night I saw where he kind of rolled to the right and threw it almost on the run in a way and hit a man in the right corner of the end zone. And just a perfectly placed ball. Sometimes accuracy, when you have a quarterback that runs a lot like Jackson does, can be tricky. But, man, for Jackson to be as accurate as he is, Hillcrest is going to be a lot of fun to watch. And that's only the start. Like, obviously, they win last night over Hillcrest. Final score of that game, we talked about that earlier. I just think Hillcrest is going to be a team that continues to do this and continues to put up these type of numbers each week.
Yeah, 56-17, Hillcrest the win.
Not close.
Yeah,
not close. Big win. And then the game you heard right here on the Fan Upstate last night, Byrnes T.L.Hanna. Reggie Shaw was looking to get his first win as the head football coach at Byrnes over T.L.Hanna. Jason Tone was 2-0 against Reggie Shaw last night, Alex, a game where Hanna came out and was not able to really run that wing T offense effective. And we've talked about it a million times. When you're able to do that, it puts defenses in tough spots. But from the very jump last night, Byrnes' defense pretty much shut down the wing T attack. A lot of shotgun formation in the second half, third and fourth quarter. And when you see teams like T.L.Hanna having to go to that shotgun formation, you know they're out of their comfort zone, right? They're not doing – you saw them last year in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
They're not doing what they want to do. And first thing I'll say is credit to Byrnes' defense last night. Fred Cross had those guys ready to play. They gave up, 144 yards on the ground to a wing T offense. So Fred Cross's defense was phenomenal. A couple of big plays there. Man, you look at what that defense did. The defensive line for Byrnes last night was really impressive, and I think those guys are set to have a big season. defensively as well as offensively last night. Byrnes comes out, wins the game 30-10. Kane Rogers gets the start for the Byrnes Rebels and was absolutely fantastic last night. 13 of 19, 248 yards, 1 touchdown. One of those was a 78-yard bomb to Chew Harris, who also had a big night. 97 yards receiving for Chew, 1 touchdown. And then Trey Segura, Alex, when you have a guy back there who is highly touted as that guy, 12 carries, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns, one of them a 91-yard touchdown for Trey Segura. Byrnes outgained T.L.Hanna in every facet of the game. Offense, defense, and special teams forced 3 turnovers, 248 yards through the air last night, and 167 on the ground for the Byrnes Rebels. This was a bugaboo game a season ago where Hanna won 19-16 on the road, but a lot different feeling and a big win for Byrnes to be able to not only get that Hanna monkey off their back, Alex, but also start a season 1-0 compared to a season ago, 0-1 that eventually led to 0-3.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of difficult to compare this season to last season for Byrnes. I mean, obviously we know everything, the adversity that Byrnes had to go through last year of sending all your guys on the road every single week, week in, week out, while the new Nixon Field was being built. But I mean, it's incredible for Byrnes to have overcome the adversity of last year to do what they were able to do, and then also to say, you know what, we're going to open up Nixon Field, the new Nixon Field, with a big win over a tough, you mentioned it, their scrappy T.L.Hanna team. I mean, I think you told me earlier in the week, all 11 starters for T.L.Hanna last night on offense were seniors.
A senior-heavy team, man.
Yeah.
And that's what worried me going into the game was the seniors on offense, 11 seniors for Hanna, a really senior-heavy football team that comes in there last night. And, I was concerned. I really was, because Hanna's been a bugaboo for Byrnes. And last night, Fred Cross's defense for Byrnes just pretty much shut them down. I mean, they had 1 score on a short field. And other than that, man, Byrnes was spectacular. I'll say this. There were a lot of weapons, a lot of great defensive plays last night. Octavius Davis was fantastic last night. Tyler Clark was great for Byrnes. But I really, my biggest takeaway was I was so impressed with Kane Rogers, senior quarterback, who went through a lot last season, a lot of adversity, a lot of back and forth quarterback, going back and forth. Didn't really work out last season, a season ago for Byrnes, going from one quarterback to the other. And Kane went through a lot of adversity last year. And for him to come out, be named the starter just a few days ago, and come out last night. And look, last night he fumbled like on the second or third drive. And after that fumble, Kane Rogers last night was a different quarterback, one that I had not seen. And for him to have the night that he had last night was special. I'm proud of him. It was a big night for him. And you mentioned the new Nixon Field. Just hats off to District 5 and those guys, Thompson Turner Construction. If you heard the game right here on the Fan Upstate, I probably didn't do near a good enough job explaining just how amazing that venue was. But I'll say that the press box, the stadium, what I saw last night, there are very few venues across the Southeast that I've been to, high school and pro, that hold a candle to that stadium. And for Byrnes to be able to play their home games there, man, those kids are fortunate. They're lucky. Obviously, we mentioned it, having to go on the road all game, all year, a season ago is tough. But, man, that press box, that stadium, that field, the turf, the Jumbotron, it is absolutely spectacular. And those guys should be proud of that. To win that first game, not a lot of people realize this, but last night was a big game for Byrnes, because you're opening that stadium. You can't – Reggie Shaw already has the one of the toughest or the hottest seats, per se, in the state. With, year in and year out, there's a lot of pressure on them. And for them to come into that game last night, there's a lot of pressure to win that game. And you don't want to lose the first game in front of 8,000 people. There wasn't a seat in the stands. There were Byrnes fans on the T.L.Hanna side. I want to give T.L.Hanna fans a lot of credit, too, if they're listening. T.L.Hanna brought a great crowd last night, and that place last night was electric. I don't know what the attendance was. I'm going to guess somewhere in the 6,000 to 8,000. There wasn't a seat left. Again, that place, that environment, the electricity and atmosphere was something that I haven't felt in high school football in a long, long time. So a lot of fun last night. Appreciate each of you for listening, if you did. And congratulations to the Rebels getting their first win at the brand new Nixon Field. Hanna's still good. Look, don't hit the panic button if you're a Hanna fan. To your point, 11 seniors on offense. they'll get that offense rolling. They went against a really tough Byrnes defense last night. Jason Tone, they're going to be okay. They were 9-3 a season ago. Every year they Jason Tone led teams are really disciplined, really good. So I don't really have much panic there. I believe Jason Tone will get it figured out. Some tough opponents though for Jason Tone in the next few weeks, and T.L.Hanna, Wren, one of them. We just talked to Anthony Freight, but a big win last night, Region 2 5A. Some of the games we talked about, we'll try to get to the rest of them in the last segment of the show, and also take a quick look ahead to week 1. You say, well, Cole, week 1 was last night. No, last night was week 0. Thanks to Alex Guest and the high school league for doing that. He's the one that orchestrates
Always
that.
all my fault.
Always your fault for week 0. See if you can fix that. See if you can
see
turn
what I
that
can
around.
do. Yeah.
Week 1 is Friday. Week 0 now in the rear view mirror. A lot of good games last night. And, boy, it's tough getting to all of them in a 2-hour show, Alex. We are going to continue the conversation and take a peek ahead at the biggest games happening in week 1 next right here on the Fan Upstate.
Mike is hot in 3 seconds. Mike is hot.
Final segment of the show. He's Alex Guest. I'm Cole Bryson. We're live at 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. I want to say thanks to Ingalls Markets as well as Founders Federal Credit Union for their support and sponsorship of the Saturday Morning Scramble. Also want to say thanks to Anthony Freight for stopping by earlier this morning, and a few of his Wren Hurricanes, Ethan O'Brien, Nick Owens, Aiden Herron, as well as Matthew Rochester on the show a few minutes ago. If you missed any of it, you can go back on the fanupstate.com after the show is over. Both hours will be uploaded for you to listen to anytime. You can also find us anywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Music, where else? What am I missing? What other? That's all. That's the only 2 I listen to, use rather. Spotify and Apple Music. Is there any other ones I'm missing?
I'm sure there is. But,
those are the main 2. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can find Alex and I on the Saturday Scramble. Just search for the Saturday Morning Scramble or the Fan Upstate. Any interview on these shows. You can get there. What has your eye? What has your interest, Alex, when you look ahead week 1 this Friday night with week 0 now in the rearview mirror? There are fan bases that are obviously elated after last night's win. Fan bases look to get the bad taste out of their mouth in week 1. What games kind of grab your attention this coming Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think obviously, one game that kind of grabs my attention is the J.O. Man Gaffney game, just with that being two former coordinators for Gaffney on the same sideline now kind of going at each other.
Mhm.
Bryce Smiley at J.O. Man, Donnie Littlejohn at Gaffney. I think moving down the Irmo Byrnes game, Irmo coming off of a state championship loss, everything that
That was a good team a year ago.
yeah,
Man. Oh my
everything
gosh.
that happened with that game last year. Dorman got Grayson off of their schedule, so
That's
they
good.
replaced that with
That's already a
Catawba
win.
Ridge. Yeah,
Not saying they win against Catawba Ridge. I'm just saying that's a win getting Grayson off the schedule, right?
You and I talked about it earlier. I think seeing what Spartanburg can do with Dutch Fork, the trip down to Irmo.
Can they get a break between Northwestern and Dutch Fork at least, right?
Yeah, they
bye
get
week?
about 6 days.
How about Fountain Inn Woodruff?
That was next on my list.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Woodruff coming off of a big win.
And, I think that was just a 3-point game last year.
Sam Holiday is a good quarterback, man, for
yeah.
Fountain Inn. P.J. Curington, really good wide receiver. They beat Liberty last night. Kendall Jackson, really good player over at Liberty. And Liberty, played them close at times, but in the end, Fountain Inn was just a little too much for him. And unfortunately, I don't have an answer. I have a couple of texts about it, asking about the kid's injury from last night. It was a really scary injury over there. I don't have an update, and I apologize for not having one, but hopefully that kid will be okay. Fountain Inn Woodruff could be sneaky good, right?
Yeah, I mean, Woodruff won that game just by 3 points last
that
year,
all 3
30
points?
to 27.
How about that, man?
And so,
I like this game. Powdersville, Abbeville next week. Powdersville coming off of a tough loss last night to Seneca, right? And boy, what did we talk about earlier? It seems like every year Powdersville has 2 or 3 really tough out-of-region games, and they go on to win like 6 or 7 in a row,
Yeah, and they lost their first 3 games last year to Seneca, Abbeville, Wren.
And
that
then
was
won
a
how many in a
10-point
row?
game. Just the rest of them till the playoffs.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So it seems like that's what their calling card is.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a fantastic week of high school football coming your way. BHP Greer obviously is going to be a big one over in that area. Will Young, man, for whatever reason, schedules the SEC every year and out of region. I mean, you talk about a tough out of region conference. Clinton Lawrence, an interesting one next week. Who does Chapman have next? St. Joe's.
St. Joe's.
Looking at that one as a big game, not only because St. Joe's coming off a win last night over Cardinal Newman, but Chapman needing this one.
Yeah.
Like they need this win. A tough loss for them last night against Daniel. That's a big one. Bowling Springs, Malden. Maybe a sneaky game there. Malden played Riverside well last night. Bowling Springs kind of let Greer back in that game. And that game almost got hairy last night between Bowling Springs and Greer. So I like Bowling Springs. I think they'll take care of business, but interesting to see. To your point, Gaffney J.O. Man will be interesting to see if Gaffney can get in the win column. Hillcrest Clover, pretty good game next week. That one's at Clover.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a blowout last year. I think Hillcrest ended up winning that one by like 35 or
Was it
something.
really?
Yeah, I think it was like a 55-20 game.
How about that?
I think both teams really looking to get a big win, a marquee matchup win.
And then a little bit of a rivalry next week. Chesney Broome.
Yeah.
Week 1. How about that? Week 1, Chesney Broome. Broome with a tough loss last night. Lynn Fleming and those guys looking to get back in the win column. So some good games next week. Some really good games. Obviously, you'll hear Byrnes, Irmo right here on the Fan Upstate next week beginning at 7 o'clock. Alex and I will be back to break all of the games down on Saturday. I did want to shout out a buddy of mine who was on the officiating crew last night. He just sent me a DM on Twitter, and I won't say who it was because I want him to keep his privacy, but he was the white hat last night on the crew between Byrnes and T.L.Hanna, and his message to me, Cole, in my 25 years of doing what I do, officiating high school football, he says that was one of the most electric atmospheres I have ever been a part of it. Luckily, I was privileged to be a part of it, And you know what? I never thought about that from an official standpoint, but that's pretty cool to hear because, they're probably hyped up as well being down on the field. I second what you said. I've been to a lot of high school games. This is my 13th season calling or broadcasting high school football, and last night's atmosphere was top 3 atmospheres. And man, what those kids over there are really, really fortunate to be able to have that new stadium, the atmosphere. Hopefully, Byrnes fans can continue to support them like they did last night. Seeing 6,000 to 8,000 people at high school football games just good for the soul. I mean, that's what it's all about. And that turnout last night in Duncan was fantastic. Credit to T.L.Hanna and their fan base as well. But a lot of good conversation on today's show. Again, one more time, I want to say thanks to Ingalls Markets as well as Founders Federal Credit Union. We couldn't do it without their support of the Saturday Morning Scramble. To you, Alex Guest, as also to Matthew Rochester, Anthony Freight. A few of his players showed up as well. They were fantastic. Appreciate them doing so. Ethan O'Brien, Nick Owens, Aiden Herron. Week 0, high school football is in the books, but guess what? Week 1 is now on the horizon. Alex and I will be back next week live from Travelers Rest. The Ingalls and the big city of TR will be right here from 8 to 10 a.m. on the Saturday Morning Scramble on the Fan Upstate.
Clear.
Perfect.